We'll start off with the Nasdaq over here because the Nasdaq is coming straight down into this area of huge caution. Why it's this is the March lows over here. This is where the Fed began raising rates, looking for a relief rally here. I was not looking for the relief rally to be then smashed like that quickly, but here we are, and we have these levels to watch off of. If you didn't get the opportunity yesterday to watch the video we did, you could go ahead and watch what happens if markets crash. Better in the announcements channel in the Discord to watch the full version, the CTM version. And we're looking at right now is a lot of traders as the markets are coming in and coming in hard to retest that last March low. You can see a lot of traders are picking up protection. And this is something that normally is done at top. Now, whether back in March over here, right? March 2020, you could see that like we were already like way overbought, but that could go and remain for a long time and for much larger moves. Is something like that setting up right now, or is this probably one, or is it potentially one of these other times when you just see traders buying protection at the wrong time and a market turn? I have no idea what happens next, but this video talked about, but the video yesterday going on about what happens if that level is actually broken, what that could mean, looking at 2008 and 2000 on the Nasdaq examples. This comment brought so much, good energy my way. Love your videos and insight. Your energy always brings a smile to my face. That meant so much to me. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Today we got Microsoft, Alphabet. It should, let's just go back to the charts over here. It probably makes or breaks this level over here. How about them apples? No, if you didn't get a chance to watch the video yesterday on what happens when markets crash, that's an important one. We also go into what happened between when a market crashed deflationary, Japan in the 90s and then past the 90s, the lost decade, or if it goes with debasement of the currency and hyperinflation, looking at Venezuela, and then comparing where we are now to both to try to help maybe figure out where we are, and then even more importantly, maintain that posture that has taken us to where we are right now, and know and understand that unless we break that and take out these lows, there's a good chance we continue to go sideways to slightly up. What is interesting to me is the 10-year continues to come off. Now it's rising a little bit, but about an hour ago, I think it was at the lows of the session, and I saw that you saw Bitcoin under pressure. You saw the equity markets under heavy pressure. I sincerely thought when we had this sell impulse over here, if we were going to break down, and we didn't waterfall down yet. The move is just getting started. But I'm expecting, or my expectations prior to the break, you remember we started lining up that break definitely ahead of the curve. A lot of people caught on yesterday after it broke, right? And what I was expecting for relief, to have a little bit of a relief, and that's not happening. We are not seeing that yet. So one of the two are probably going to catch up. Either the 10-year is going to retrace and even potentially go on to new all-time highs, and soon, or you're going to start seeing equity markets kind of put in a bit of a relief rally, Bitcoin along with it. I wanted to also just mention the DXY continues that astonishing ascent. Now at 102, headed towards going back over here. If I jump down to the 3-day, you could see this channel that we've been in ever since actually the 2008 crisis, right? And you could see why there was potential opportunity over here at the beginning of 2021, January 2021. We had broken down out of the channel. We came in for a retest and then never resumed, making that lower low, which really would have took a lot of pressure off the dollar. But that's not what happened. The dollar made actually a higher low, and from there went on to break out this trendline CTM style. Will went ahead and showed us at the time. Raoul Pal also at the time, or slightly thereafter, showing that an inverse head and shoulders was developing, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and that breakout has sent out the dollar. This is when we were experiencing a dollar liquidity crisis. That is not what is happening here today. At this point, there was a shortage of dollars in the world. People need dollars to buy things like energy, to buy things like oil, and also to be able to service their debt. a lot of the world's countries are indebted in dollars, and they need them. And in order to make those payments on the debt, they need to sell goods for dollars. This is why the dollar is not going away as a world reserve currency. It's going to continue to play a big role. However, it does appear that we are seeing de-dollarization take place at a rapid speed. And, when we're talking about such big numbers, if you're talking about 3% of a year, and that goes on for the next 10 years, it adds up. These numbers are exponential. I think people forget about that. They keep growing, whether it's up or down. Is the dollar pressuring the markets here where something might break right now? That's a hard question. I don't see at this point any type of shortage of dollars in the world. That would be the first sign. Actually, there's an abundant flooding of dollars, right? You remember Powell on 60 Minutes? So in other words, you just flooded the system with dollars. Yep, we just flooded the system. 42% of all dollars in existence printed in the last 2 years. Now, they didn't use printing presses. They just hit some digits on a keyboard and poof, made the money appear. So the dollar right now continues to be a wrecking ball, though, versus mostly things like the Euro-US dollar, which is trading down to 104, and to the Japanese yen. The Japanese yen is very interesting what's taking place there right now. I have to I can jump over to somewhere that I want to go with you. So let's start over there. And here's, first of all, other and previous yen devaluations. This is August 15th to August 15th. Well, it's around the 15th in August in 2015. And they had a 3% devaluation in one day. And then you could see that we saw the yuan continue to make legs down. You could see during this period too, the equity markets got a little wobbly. You could see that over here. But by the time that the yen finished weakening, equity markets were trading up much higher than when the fall began. That happened again over here in 2018, and you could see that famous September, October through December 2018, that correction that caused Powell to pivot, that occurred right over here. This is the Powell pivot, and obviously that sent risk up. But you could see again, as the yuan started devaluing, weakening, you could see risk got a little bumpy. But by the time it finished devaluing, risk was rising. And after both those times, by the way, after it finished devaluing, you see that risk shoots up, like in a melt up. And then you could see that risk after they finish devaluing, risk melts up in a melt up. So it appears, as we're looking at what appears to be a beginning of a devaluation of the yuan, this was caused again by that depreciation of the yen, right? The US dollar destroying the yen. And, the Chinese, they needed to devalue their currency in order to remain competitive with Japan. So this is yesterday, towards the end of the New York session, or as soon as the European session closed, it caused a nice spike in risk. You saw Bitcoin up, equity markets up. That has since all been retraced. And it appears clearly we're in this tension zone over here where the devaluation begins and risk gets bumpy. But by the time this devaluation finishes, I do expect that risk will be higher than where it started, right? Where did it start over here devaluing? Up over here, right where we are right now, by the way, which is kind of above. Here we go. I want to get back to the Nasdaq over here. Boom, 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 boom. NQ. So, above this level that we're at right now, even if we break down over here and start putting in some lower lows, and that's completely on the table, no question about that.